just... Hello, and welcome to the Streakers On podcast at 12:44 in the morning. You know the crew. Craig's somewhere. Maybe he's in the bathroom. Maybe he's in the lounge. But I'm going to keep that a buck right here and call Mr. More for your money out when he's right when the goal went in, Lane. I want you to know who he blamed. I want you to make a wild guess whose fault he thinks it was.
Okay, hold on. I'm thinking. I think I know. Chris Knobloch, the coach, right?
Dan blames the one guy who he always blames, the goaltender.
Yeah.
He's not going to blame Evan Bouchard for the absolutely terrible pinch. He's not going to blame Matthias Ekholm for shooting the puck so wide he would have thought he was in a CFL football field. You're not.
He was lying down on the ice and a puck squished him like a poo-poo.
You're not going to blame Evan Bouchard for after the terrible pinch for the lackluster back check. I'm sorry, but this is why when you guys keep telling me Edmonton's defense is comparable to Florida's, it's not. This game, it was the tale of two stories from Edmonton's defense. They put up a crap ton of points. They turn the puck over every 5 seconds. How about that save from Skinner on Klingberg where he just turns the puck over for no reason, where he's just doing dipsy doodles in his own end? Like, at the end of the day, the Edmonton Oilers, I would argue the Oilers basically beat themselves tonight. Yeah, Florida played their game, but this is a game that if Edmonton just smartens up, doesn't get baited into some stupid penalties, doesn't turn the puck over every 10 seconds, probably win this one.
I also think the bad calling from the Vissels has something to do with it. I mean, I think that play wasn't offside, and I think the play when Ekblad had a boo-boo, definitely was too many men.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but you could argue that I don't know. I don't remember the play, but I know what happened where the Oilers kind of skated back to their own bench after knocking the puck out of play and were sitting on the bench for 5 minutes while Chris Knobloch was like, "Oh, I don't remember who was on the."
Now, funny enough, Wayne, by the rules, that's not delay of game. Should the NHL change that rule? Absolutely. Yeah. But because it's not a delay of game rule,
they were saying that on they said that on the broadcast too. They're like, with all the video review, they should be able to, and this is credit to Sportsnet. I don't want to steal their words out of their mouth, but one of the guys on Sportsnet, I think it was the color commentator, said that you know what, with all the like the technology they have, this is something that could have been fixed in 3 seconds. You see who's on the ice before the puck. You get the numbers, the names, and if they're screwing around, you call a penalty because now they're delaying the game, right? Which, I mean, they took advantage of that rule, but, and all credit to them, they're allowed to do that. But at the same time, you can't just say, well, Florida does this and Edmonton was doing it too. So it's hard to say that you can't just blame one team for getting it when the other team was doing similar things as well.
No, 100%. And you got to look at Evander Kane too. Every time they're about to drop the puck, he goes for a skate around the face-off. No, I laughed at that a couple of times too.
Mind you, the only difference is, and this is just my opinion here, what you guys are complaining about Edmonton is not a penalty. What we're saying about Florida is a penalty. It's not a penalty to go for a skate around the ice during a face-off. And you know what isn't a penalty? To see Mr. Chazzy looking as beautiful as always.
Oh, yeah.
So
he came on so quick he didn't change his outfit.
Chazzy, we're just kind of talking here about the non-call too many men, which in the second overtime, and I think it should be called because Arvidsson has a clear path to the net if Schmidt isn't in the way. Schmidt shouldn't have been able to be on the ice when Ekblad was still on the ice. But I also want your guys' opinion on the Sam Bennett goal interference penalty. I'm very skeptical on it because that wasn't a penalty in game one. What's the difference between that one and the Blaine, thank you for letting us know that Ben and Marshall's favorite song is Price Tag by Jesse J. But Dan doesn't know what happened. It's a YouTube comment, Dan. That's why you can't see it on your cellular device. But I don't know. I personally, that just brings me back to the question: is what is goalie interference?
Well, I'll tell you what the difference was.
Oh, I know what it is.
Oh, go ahead, Lane.
It's so you get this wheel, right? And there's a bunch of yeses and nos on it. It's like the Price is Right. You know, when they win the showcase and they go the big wheel, it goes, and the rest stand there while they go to this room and they spin this really big wheel for like minutes. It goes beep 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 beep.
You do that noise, by the way.
Beep 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 beep. And they stand there and they go, oh, what's it gonna land on? Oh no, oh okay, well, sucks to suck, I guess.
You know, Lane, I 100% agree with you. I don't think we know it literally is just. I think that's why when everyone criticized Knobloch for challenging it in game one, which he shouldn't have, but it's a 50-50 shot on a goal interference call every time, anyways.
I think the difference was in game one, everyone whined about it when it really wasn't a big deal. So when he did the same thing,
everyone whined about it in game two. Stuart Skinner looked like Stuart Skinner was acting like he died.
No, I know, but I'm saying because everyone whined on game one, they had to call in a game two.
Disagree. I don't think you should go to pure pressure if you're in a.
Well, I agree. You shouldn't do it, but I think that's what happened.
But where do we think this game went wrong for Edmonton here? Like the first overtime, you really controlled it. Second overtime, you came in very lackadaisical. Chazzy, you can guess who Dan blamed for the overtime goal. None other than Stuart Skinner. Dan goes, when in doubt, blame the goalie.
Come on, he was lying down taking a poo-poo. The puck went through his pants the way poo-poos do. Like Patrick Lean back in 2004 against Joe Newendike.
Dan, the sad thing is a lot of our viewers may not even know what that goal was. It was so long ago. I was more on the case of Evan Bouchard, Chazzy, for his terrible pinch. Where were your thoughts on that one?
What is this in the overtime?
The overtime winner.
Oh, there's not much you could have done on that. That's just Marchand.
But I mean, you're not upset at Evan Bouchard making that pinch. You think that's the right read?
That game was absolutely insane, back and forth, and it was 5 periods of, I don't know, end-to-end hockey that had you on your on the edge of your seat.
We have another Lane fan in the comments.
Yeah.
Don't St. Pierre.
Sup,
great fighter.
But yeah, and Chazzy, I agree with you to a point. But when people start telling me that Evan Bouchard is as good as Cale Makar or as good as Quinn Hughes, this is why he's not. You can't make that mistake in that situation, right? Live to play another play.
Do what I think it is. I think
you're going to blame the goalie.
No. I think it's second overtime. It was almost halfway through second overtime.
No, it wasn't.
You played a game and a half at that point.
I don't care.
I think everyone's just very tired. And
Muffin.
Yeah, I think everyone was tired. And the other day, Brad Marchand's a special human being. Same as Sam Bennett.
Well,
the only thing that's just proved is that their price tags are going up for free agency.
That was a joke. That's why I said. That's why I put the comment, man. That's her favorite song. It's all about the money, because
100% it is.
Because I feel like
it's
but
they both play an amazing game. Even Matthew Tkachuk got a little more involved tonight.
No, Matthew Tkachuk was garbage all night again. But the big issue here, in my opinion, for Edmonton, if we start to look at some of the statistics, 23 giveaways to only 5 takeaways, where Florida only had 17 giveaways to their 12 takeaways. And again, Edmonton gets slaughtered in the faceoff zone again. 54.3% for Florida, 45.7% for the Oilers. And they lost a special team battle. Again, you can't have 6 power plays and score 1 goal.
And they allowed a so-handed goal.
Don't get me wrong. The McDavid assist for the Draisaitl power play goal was one of the nicest plays I've seen in the entire playoffs. I need Connor McDavid to do more than one breakout play every round. I mean, I think he's a dog on a bone. I think McDavid had a good game, but at the end of the day, Connor McDavid was not able to make an explosive play in overtime. You could argue the best chance in overtime, at least was you could argue was Kasperi Kapanen again.
In second overtime, at least, yeah.
At least in that second overtime. Like, I just think if you're the Oilers, you need more out of McDavid and Draisaitl in the OT. I get they're tired. I get that Dan thinks they need to have a nap. I look at it when you're being paid like you are superhuman, you have to be superhuman.
Nah, B.
I have a question. Let me ask you a question. Now, I wonder if I'm going to get the circus book for this, but it's a valid question. This might make Chazzy laugh, but I'm just wondering, with Zach Hyman out, how much the deeper this series goes, with the way Marchand and the way Sam Bennett play, are you going to be pinching yourself that you don't have Zach Hyman? I know he's not the superstar guy. He's not the guy you rely on to win the cup. But when you got Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand doing everything up there, playing like the rats that they are and scumming it up and playing mind games by knocking your goalie over 30 times and chirping you and doing all these little things in these games, which is just something that they are experts at. They should teach a university class on how to be a jerk 101. I would take that class because apparently I'm too nice. But I just feel like, I feel like without Zach Hyman, I really think the deeper this series goes, I really think Edmonton is in a lot of trouble because we're only in game 2 and we're already seeing the mind games. Like I say, this team, the Florida Panthers, and their little mind games of getting you to think twice and get frustrated and start getting agitated and doing things you don't normally do. It's already going, and it's only game 2, and I think they're just going to keep ramping it up as we keep getting deeper and deeper.
The only thing
I 100% agree with Lane.
I don't, because I do and I don't. I agree with you, Lane, that losing Zach Hyman is a huge hole. And let's be honest, at times Corey Perry really shows that he's 40, trying to be on that top line. But you could argue that Perry and Evander Kane are just as effective rodents as Marchand and Bennett. And after game 1, we were all going on about Edmonton's speed. Here's what's happened. Game 1 was Edmonton's style of game, and Edmonton barely won. Game 2 was Florida's style of game, and Florida barely won. I think we're just seeing the two best teams in the NHL going at it. I might not like the result of how we got to the Stanley Cup final because I think the playoff format is broken. But these are the two best teams in the NHL, and I don't think there's a question. And I think what we're seeing is just the two best teams battling like the two best teams.
Yeah.
And we're definitely – Florida showed that they can slow down this game. And Edmonton – realistically, Edmonton struggled with the physicality in this one, unlike in game 1. Because in game 1, Edmonton was so fast and flying in and out of the zone. They were setting the tone, even physically.
Right.
This game, Florida slowed the game down. I'd even argue the Edmonton defenders did the same thing at times. The defensemen were just taking too long to make breakout plays, and that's something that's got to change. So at the end of the day, I think this, after seeing both games 1 and 2, I think this is going to be a long series. I think it's going to go 6 or 7. Now Edmonton's just got to win one in Florida.
That's the key.
Yeah, and I think
they can.
They won one in Florida last year when they were down 3-0. They're in a better position than they were last year.
Yep. Sure.
I think Edmonton, I'm going to say it again. I think Edmonton beat themselves tonight as more than Florida beat Edmonton. I think you when you go 1 for 6 on the power play, terrible pinch in overtime, lackluster in the faceoffs, multiple giveaways, and you still almost win. If you can clean this up. And I know you guys said to me Edmonton didn't need to clean anything up after game 1, but you could see they didn't make the necessary changes going into game 2 where Florida did. You clean this up, you go into game 3, and you win game 3, you're right back in the driver's seat. Will they win game 3? It's a 50-50 toss-up, in my opinion. I don't really feel one team has the momentum over the other right now.
I don't know. I kind of disagree, Jacob. I mean, I want to go around the room. I want to go around the room here because, I remember when I said game 3 was against Leafs was like the most pivotal game. And I almost look at this game very similar to the way game 3 happened where, you had a lead, you blew it, you got back in, and Brad Marchand scores an overtime winner to take your momentum away.
Yeah.
Are we seeing a little bit of similarities here between Game 3 from Toronto? No, I think you are a little bit.
I'm not.
You had multi leads, you blew it, you got back in the game, and then you lost.
Edmonton had one lead.
Let's give
Florida was leading to start the game. Then Edmonton pushed ahead to get up 3-2 going out of the first. Then Florida led going into the second. And then Edmonton tied it in the third. Toronto, the difference was Toronto was leading 3-1, then 4-2 or something, or 2-1 and then 3-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they blew a bunch of leads and then let in a weird bounce goal in overtime. This game goes to double OT and just off a bad play by Evan Bouchard. And I'm sorry, Evan Bouchard. You had great moments this game, but that's a play you got to clean up. And I don't think Edmonton's in trouble until they lose both in Florida. If they lose both in Florida, you lose both in Florida, then you're not winning the cup. You got to win at least one. I think Game 3 and 4 will be the most important games in these series for both teams.
Yeah.
Let's give credit where credit is due. They make reason for this game. You can say Edmonton bad, Edmonton this, blah, blah, blah. Big reason Florida won this game was Sergei Bobrovsky. Playoff Bob definitely came out to
showed up in overtime.
Saves. Now, the $1 million question, if Edmonton keeps getting 40 shots on him in 7 games, can Playoff Bob still do that at his age? I don't know.
Well, that's a very good question, and that's something I thought Bobrovsky again looked tired. You can see the sweat wrenching off him. I don't know what Bobrovsky. Now, actually, I'm going to flip this a little differently here. Is Stuart Skinner healthy?
Nope.
I don't know.
He didn't look 100%. Remember, Calvin Pickard finished the game and then was injured. Could we see Calvin Pickard in Game 3?
It's possible. Do you think Sam Ben? Do you think we're gonna get? I can't believe I'm asking this because I already know the answer. We're getting a phone call. Like, come on, it's just getting. I know what he's gonna say. Oh, it was an accident. But come on, this is getting ridiculous. No Stolar knocks him out. Frederick Anderson runs him over. Oh, I happened to break his ankle. Like, come on, man. The NHL's got to do something. Like, this is becoming a clown show.
Literally.
A clown show.
Yeah.
Literally, this is the NHL right now. I'm going to go on a rant right here, so I need to be put full screen.
Lane is calling me out on the switcher.
Not you. Not
you. As a producer, wow.
George Peros, fix your flipping game. This is ridiculous. What is the goalie supposed to do? I'm on the fan of Jacob. You know, I've been fighting with Jacob over this kick goal crap, but this goalie stuff is unbelievable. Fix this. This is ridiculous. This game is becoming a mockery. You can't stand in the net because you have a guy that'll just knock you over every 30 seconds, and the ref just goes, oh, it's an accident. Oh, it's an accident. I don't care. There can't be 54 freaking accidents every 7 minutes. They got to do something. George Peros, you are the worst person to run NHL player safety. You're an absolute pathetic joke.
I 100% agree with Lane. What's the point of having a crease if you can accidentally punch someone in the head in the crease or accidentally fall on their ankle, right? But the point is, until the league changes the rule, Sam Bennett is the best in the league at this. This is why he's going to get paid a crap ton of money for putting up 50 points.
Dan, I'm not even fully saying I blame the players for doing what they're doing because they know they can get away with it, but the NHL has to fix it. I'm on Lane's side here.
Oh, I agree with Lane.
I want to go back to if you can't be in the crease. The crease is there for a reason. Unless you're Brett Hull in the Stanley Cup Finals, you can't be in it. Luckily for the NHL, Brett Hull has retired. So therefore, that will not be a problem. Chazzy, how are you feeling about it? You are just grinning like a schoolgirl who just got her first chocolate bar. So how are you feeling about this? Do you think we're overblowing this goalie interference?
I don't know if you're overblowing it, but I don't know if it's as big of a deal as a blatant goaltending interference of throwing himself in there. Again, it's in front of the net, jostling. I still, my same opinion on that play is the same as with Stolar's. He turned into him. He didn't intend to do anything. It just turned into him.
Okay, but how many times can you not intend to do something? Right? If I get charged with attempted murder 17 times, am I going to jail? Yes, I am.
Yeah, but wasn't he at the top of the crease tier?
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
He was not. It's getting to a point where just make it clear cut. If you're in the crease, you don't deserve the grease. Eagle. There you go. Nice and easy. Easy breezy, beautiful. Cover girl.
I'm just getting sick and tired of seeing this every game. Like I understand it's the rule. I get there's nothing they can do about it because in the CBA you can't change the rule in the middle of the CBA. I understand all that legal jargon.
You actually can change a rule in the middle of the CBA if you get if everyone agrees and the player association also has a higher vote of 60%. You can change your rule.
Well, no one's going to change it.
They changed the Brett Hall foot in the crease in the middle of the game. I mean, if you can change it then, hell, you can change the rules now.
I didn't know you could change it, but my point is I'm just getting sick and tired of seeing it's one thing, Stolarz gets punched in the head from a fall through. Okay. Then Freddie gets knocked down. Now it's Stuart Skinner. Like, come on. Like, at some point, it's like, okay, I get what he does. I know that's his role. Sam Bennett's great at this role. I'm sure if he was on the Leafs, I'd be loving him doing this. But at the same time, it's like, come on, man. This is the third goalie 3 rounds in a row where the same thing has happened over and over and over. And the NHL just goes, what? Yeah, well, we can't do anything about it. It's like, you can. It's called a 1-game suspension. Just give them one. Just say, yeah, you know what?
I don't know if they're suspensions, but they're at least penalties, right? And that's, I mean, I still feel the one on Stolarz was
3 strikes,
a legitimate punch. But, and Chazzy, you can say it wasn't
on his ankle. He broke his ankle, Jacob. He literally landed with his whole weight on his ankle.
Yeah,
on purpose.
I don't know if it's a suspension. It's a penalty. But what I mean is, though,
and we did call that one a penalty, by the way.
They did, but they didn't call the one in Game 1 a penalty. I just want consistency. And
I don't think Game 1 was that bad. The guy pushed him into the goalie, and he fell. I mean, I would have done the same thing if I was Sam Bennett.
He didn't. He fell on purpose, Dan. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did. But the point is, as soon as he felt that tap from the other guy, he had the right to fall.
Yeah, but he fall. So you're telling me if I push you forward, you had a right to fall backwards?
Yeah.
But I pushed you forward. I pushed you the other way. So how would you be going this way if I'm pushing you this way?
Well, because I'm crippled, I have no balance.
Okay, but Sam Bennett is not that.
But you're on skates, right?
Oh,
so the balance is different.
These are professional athletes.
Yet they can stand there getting slashed and whacked for 20 minutes, for 5 minutes with their slashed and whacked and arms pulled. But somehow getting pushed the other momentum makes you fall backwards. Yeah, cool story, bro. I understand that's what he's doing. I get it, but they need to do something about this. There needs to be a fine. I know there's not going to be because George Peros doesn't care.
But what's the point? What's the point of doing a $5,000 fine? Listen to Alexander Ovechkin. He said, if I knew it only cost $5,000 to spear Brad Monsanto, I would have done it 25 times years ago. Okay? These players don't care for $5,000.
Fair enough. Yeah, but they just
no. So here's all you do. You just clear, cut, and dry. No, you can't be in the crease. I actually like the IAHF rule on that. You can't be in the crease.
Yeah.
Just make it plain and simple. Then it's done. There's none of this. It's kind of like when they debated on shooting the puck over the glass. Should it be called only if intent, or should it just be every time? They went every time, so there was no BS, and it was plain and simple. If your foot's in the crease, you can't get the grease.
Yeah. So even if your skate has nothing to do with the play, like they did back in the day, if it's in the blue paint, no goal.
Because the blue paint is the goalie's area.
Now, what if you get pushed into the crease in IHF? Like, what if I push you and you fall into the crease?
No, again, if you're in the crease, in IHF, it doesn't matter if you're pushed in or not. If you're in the crease, it's no goal.
Then that's that
is just the simplest way to fix this problem.
But doesn't the league want to up?
Hold on. Edmonton has been just as guilty as this as Florida. I do want to keep this 100 here. We saw Evander Kane run over Aiden Hill so many times. I thought Aiden Hill was going to lose it in that series against Vegas. Right? And we saw
got in with playoff Bob tonight.
Yeah,
honestly,
sure.
We got playoff Bob in overtime. I thought in regulation he was just okay. I still want more out of Bobrovsky.
No, but didn't Kane run playoff Bob over like the first and the second?
Okay,
Yeah,
but it was
so.
But again, you know what? Number one, I think Bobrovsky was embellishing. Even the commentator called it. Number two, my rule works there. Evander Kane is in the crease. If he hits a goal, it's a penalty, and just clear cut, clear, crystal, simple, done.
So we can go on my point, man. Do AI refereeing.
That's it. Discussion's done. Who cares? It's over. It's easy, breezy.
Cover girl.
AI refereeing. That's the future of sports.
But Chaz, you might being a little too overdramatic. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I understand it. It's so frustrating, man.
Yeah, I don't know where the NHL switched because they used to be more on that blue paint if a skate's in there or anything. But I think over the last couple of years, they sort of like, I don't know, phased it out or not as lenient on it.
It's plain and simple. If you're in the crease, it's no goal. But however, Edmonton can't blame this as the reason why they lost this game. It's not. They lost the game because of a really bad play in overtime, a bad pinch from Evan Bouchard. And this is
Brad Marchand. Give credit where credit's due. Brad Marchand
had nobody near him, and he actually, I think what ended up helping him, and I'm not blaming Draisaitl for this, by the way, because it was a great back check by Draisaitl. But Draisaitl back checking, unfortunately, I think is the reason why this puck goes in. I think if that puck's going at full speed, it's probably not squeezing through. An off-speed shot is a lot harder to stop on the fly. But
true.
I don't know. Maybe you guys think I'm crazy the way I'm harping on Evan Bouchard. But you guys compared him to Cale Makar.
He did have 3 points tonight.
And he had 8 shots.
Yeah.
Okay, but 3 points and he's even. So that means he was on for 3 goals against. You're okay with that? I'm not. He's a defenseman. Defend! That's your job. Your job is to defend. Do I want Stuart Skinner to get a hat trick? I mean, that would be kind of cool. But ideally, I just want him to stop the puck.
But Jacob, if we didn't get those 3 points,
you know what?
if those 3 goals didn't even happen, we not even went to overtime.
Okay, but if you even it out and he defends, we still go to overtime. What's your point?
I don't know.
Exactly. Get wrecked. But that's like saying I'm put off at Connor McDavid because he didn't have a fight tonight. That is the same logic people have with defense. It's the whole way the NHL looks at defense now. Oh,
Connor McDavid fighting now?
No, I don't. But that's my point. I don't care about my defenseman getting a goal and 2 assists. I'd like Connor McDavid to put up a goal and 2 assists, not Evan Bouchard. I want Evan Bouchard to defend.
Wow. Ever since a player called Bobby Orr, that kind of stopped happening.
Not true whatsoever. The best defensemen in the early 2000 eras were your shutdown defensemen.
Okay, what about Scott Niemeyer and Nicholas Lidstrom?
They were plus players. Yes, they could score, but they could also defend. If you're going to be, you look at that game-winning goal, that is Evan Bouchard acting like a forward, not a defenseman. And then the lackluster back check. And this is why when you guys tell me that this defense is just as good, when did you see a lackluster back check from Florida like that? If there's a pinch, my God, they hustle back.
Yeah,
that's true.
Right?
Steph Jones has a level I didn't know he had. I gotta admit that.
Because he defends.
He's had an incredible playoffs. Holy cow. I called Steph Jones out saying, I don't know why he's getting $9.5 million. I don't know why they made that trade, but now I get it. He definitely was a missing piece before.
And I'm calling out Bouchard this much because people are saying he's worth 10, 11 million. If he's worth 10, 11 million, then he can't pinch there.
Is his contract up?
Yeah, but he's a restricted free agent.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
He'll probably get around.
If you guys are comparing him to Cale Makar, do you guys think Cale Makar back checks harder there? Yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
Does Quinn Hughes?
Oh, yeah.
That's my point. He's not comparable. Does Adam Fox?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe
so
not.
Maybe an Adam Fox level. Or Jamie Foxx. You got that. Louis Vuitton.
I'm surprised Jacob hasn't freaked out over my comment in the comments section.
Oh, Brad Marchand next Toronto Maple Leaf 11.5 for 3.
Sad face. It's supposed to be a sad face.
Oh, it's over 3.9 years. It's like at the end of the 4th year, we just kill him. But Brad Marchand's not coming to Toronto. He is just toying with Leaf Nation. That's all he's doing.
I don't know. I think I could see them bring. I see what this whole.
I think Toronto wants him, but I could see Brad Marchand pulling the ultimate troll by announcing he's staying in Florida while he's at a Drake concert, because that's just the type of guy Brad Marchand is.
True.
Yeah.
But you don't think the Leafs would, with this $26 million, would just be like, instead of giving it to Marner, let's just give it to Brad Marchand?
Oh, the Leafs would absolutely love a guy like Brad Marchand. Brad Marchand's not going to come to Toronto. I think we're more likely to go to Montreal than Toronto, just to piss off. So, yeah. There you go, Chazzy. How would you like Brad Marchand on a Habs jersey?
He would love it.
And I'd like to know how Montreal fans would feel about that. We'll see.
I think Evan Bouchard is worth at least $9.
No.
$9 million.
Not as a restricted free agent. 8.
I'd say 8, yeah.
8. He's too inconsistent.
I think
he makes the. But I will tell you, I do think he makes. After how he's playing the playoffs, I do think he will make the Olympic team next go around. I think he will be on that Olympic roster.
Yeah,
he's too inconsistent.
He's a good playoff player, but
he is a good player. I'm not saying he isn't, but he's got to learn that he's got to play hard every shift, and he still takes shifts off.
So do a lot of people.
What did you guys think of Skinner tonight? We haven't really dove. I know Jay thinks Skinner's like the.
In my opinion, Skinner played good enough to give his team a chance, and that's all you got to expect from a goal you're paying in that $3 to $4 million range.
Was there any goal that you didn't like from him? I didn't like that the one before the Marchand breakaway.
I agree with you. Didn't love that one.
I think that was the one where he got screened a little bit, but I felt like it was just he left too much of that top part of the net open. I think. I know he didn't mean to.
You got to look at it though. He had put up comparable numbers to Bobrovsky that you guys are praising like crazy. I think Stuart Skinner played good, and here's a big difference too, right? Bobrovsky is being paid close to $11 million.
It's not just
no. Hear me out. So that means in theory, Bobrovsky should be 2.5 times better than Stuart Skinner, and he was not. Stuart Skinner did his job tonight. At the end of the day, Edmonton should be able to score 5 goals.
Florida won because of Bobrovsky.
Florida won because Edmonton was 1 for 6 on the power play and didn't back check. That's why Florida won.
Any day, Stuart Skinner allowed the extra goal when Bobrovsky did not. That's why a team wins and a team loses.
At the end of the day, you have to look at who you're paying more money. And I'm sorry, but then if this was Leaf Nation and that was Austin freaking Matthews not playing that play correctly, Dan would be screaming about Captain Underpants needing to go get himself a new burrito. But instead, Dan blames Stuart Skinner. Now, I'm curious.
Yeah, he played Joseph Wall.
He played Joseph Wall. So you're telling me then you are fine with McDavid having no goals over the last 2 games? You're okay with that?
Did you watch the power play goal I watched when you saw Draisaitl?
Power play goal. Good job. How much are you paying him?
Better than Captain Underpants in Game 7.
Honestly, in my opinion, Edmonton said all year, Stanley Cup win or bust. If they don't win the Cup, it's a failure.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Florida's probably in the same boat.
I don't think so. Florida's been to the 3rd straight year to the Stanley Cup. They're just enjoying the ride. They weren't expected to go this far this year.
That's true.
I think they did. That's why they got Steph Jones. That's why they got Brad Marchand. Why would they trade all their future to those 2 guys if they didn't think we were getting Stanley Cup again?
They did not trade all their future.
Most of it.
They really traded anything.
They hardly traded anything to get any. They traded a 2nd-round pick for Brad Marchand and some plugs for Steph Jones.
You traded Spencer Knight, but yeah.
Spencer Knight, guy that was completely irrelevant to your team.
Pretty much.
Straight up.
Yeah,
no, Florida did a very good job in adding tools. And only reason why you got Steph Jones is because Aaron Ekblad took drugs. Whether you want to say it or not, whether you say it was by accident or on purpose. And this is the problem. Florida's way over the cap right now, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. This is why this is another rule I suggested earlier on the podcast. You could fix that too, just by saying, just say forget about I know they will never do this because they don't care. If you could fix that rule too by just saying, you know what, you could have whoever one in the press box. I don't care. That cap's irrelevant. Whoever plays on the ice on that night in that game has to total 96 million. But again, I know that's pipeline fantasy. Never going to happen. They're just going to let people abuse
It's
the
a good
LTIR.
point, though. I do like your point.
It's never going to happen, though.
Why not?
Never going to happen because think about it, right? If there's let's just say there's 40 of us here in this room, which I don't know how we'd fit 40 people on this screen, but let's just say there was 40 of us, and
that's really expanding in Lane's fantasy.
No, but I'm just saying. But my point, Dan asked why not, but I'm saying so. Let's just say 40 of us were here, and let's say out of the 40 of us, even if it's 4 of us, even if it was just us 4 that benefited from this rule, you need almost a 90%. I think it's like 90% of the owners have to agree on the rule to change it. Like for example, so a good example is the this whole state tax cap thing system, right? If you're telling me 6 of the 8 teams benefit from having no state tax and can bring in free agents, why would they sit there and vote against themselves to help the other teams? They don't care about the other teams. Florida's not going to care. Minnesota's not going to care. Vegas isn't going to care. All those teams that benefit from it aren't going to sit there and be like, yeah, let's change the one rule that's let us go to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 times in the last 3 years. No. Yeah. That's why it won't change, because people don't care. They're gonna vote for little things. They're gonna change little rules. They probably won't even change the goalie interference rule, because it's the same thing where it's like the players won't change it because they like playing like that. There's a lot of players that play that way, and all the owners that have teams, people like a Brad Marchand and Sam Bennett, aren't going to vote against it either. So you run into this rule where it's like you want to change the rule. The rules should be changed, but the voting process and how it's decided on will never happen because not enough people will vote against it.
That's true. Yeah. Good point.
That was such a good point. I just became the most pointed out man of life. But a point that I want to make because I think you guys are thinking I'm a little crazy the way I'm calling out McDavid and Draisaitl.
A little bit, yeah.
So McDavid,
I don't think you're crazy.
McDavid 3 assists tonight, right? That's all fine and dandy. Again, he's an even player. So that means he was out for 3 goals against.
He also played the most ice time.
Don't care. Not my problem. You're paid to be a Superman. Be a Superman. Leon Draisaitl, 2 points, -1. So he was out for at least 2, if not 3 of those goals against again.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's the issue. If you're scoring, but then your line's getting scored on every time, you're basically the top lines are canceling themselves out. McDavid and Draisaitl need to be better than Barkov and Verhaeghe. Tonight they weren't, because at the end of the day,
Sam Reinhart missed the net on a wide open breakaway.
Who won?
Florida.
Who won? At the end of the day, Florida got it done when Edmonton did not. Mm-hmm. And when you're built around in a cap world, in a world of a salary cap, your star players who you are paying the obscene amount of money have to make the play. Now, if Edmonton wins the cup, no one's going to care. If Edmonton doesn't win the cup, you're going to look at the 1-for-6 power play and a -1 out of your top line. Actually, let me also check on Corey Perry.
He had a bad game.
I think it's time for a line shakeup, and Corey Perry, get the hell off the top line. Put Evander.
Corey Perry got the game in overtime.
Don't care.
Corey Perry's a 40-year-old that gets paid $1 million. He's got
so he shouldn't be on your top line. So he shouldn't be on your top line.
Oh,
Corey Perry -1. So
I would move Frederick up there.
I would put Evander Kane there. Frederick up to the second line. Perry on the third line with Brown and.
Or what about Pokozin? Even he's been playing pretty good.
Or Kapanen.
Kapanen's been good.
Kapanen, McDavid, Draisaitl would be a fast line. Now maybe I'm hitting the panic button too much. Series tied at 1, but I don't know. I just want that.
It feels deflating.
Line. I want that top line to do more. This is a game I feel you should have won. You had your chances. Bobrovsky played really well in overtime. I will give him that. He played very well in overtime. And this is the difference between good and great goalies, is they may be having not the best night, but they can find a way to make one more big save. and Bobrovsky found a way to make one more big save. You look at that Kapanen chance in the second OT. If that goes in, we're not talking about this Evan Bouchard play.
That's true.
We're not talking about the too many men on the ice that wasn't called. But at the end of the day, Bobrovsky made the one big save when they needed it. Now, you could argue Stuart Skinner did the same thing in the first overtime when Klingberg decided to give the puck away for no apparent reason, for literally no apparent reason. Like, he had all the time in the world and just decided to do a 360 no-scope like he was in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. We're not sponsored by Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Actually, I don't even think we could be. That game's has been not out for a very long time. But like we could be sponsored by Call of Duty.
Hey? John Klingberg was like me playing Halo.
But I think it's time we sign off for the night because we're all just talking a bunch of nonsense at this point, and I think we're half asleep. So, but thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for watching the Streakers On podcast post-game show. Maybe even we will do a bit of a preview show over the weekend heading into Game 3, which is until Monday, because unfortunately, I will be at work on Monday. So I will not be able to do the shows Monday. So maybe we'll do a pregame show on, I don't know, Saturday or Sunday. Because why the heck not? I'm Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed yawning sports analyst. We have Mr. Moore for your money.
Woo! As you would say, Jacob, wake up, as you would tell me.
My eyes are open.
That's true.
We have Lane Mother Truckin' Dashco. No one's as dashing. And Chazzy 5.56 update is slowly getting there. Man, you're like Windows Vista. That firmware is slow. But thank you very much for watching the show. We will be back this weekend with either, maybe some NBA, maybe some more CFL. We still got to go over the top. Still got to go over the top 20 players in the league and Grey Cup predictions. So we'll be back this weekend. Don't you worry. We'll be back in a hurry. My comb is in my hair. Like Steph Curry.
Okay. Bye.